Welcome to It's Your Turn, the only program of its kind in the Kansas City area. It's Your Turn provides organizations the opportunity to present their objectives in programs of their own devising. It's Your Turn is presented by Channel 19, but is produced by the groups involved. KCPT provides no more than advisory assistance in these productions. And now, the Foolkiller, It's Your Turn.
But the Foolkiller was the most exhilarating years of my life. And I knew it would never be that good again. But for 10 years, we raised the greatest amount of cultural hell that Kansas City's ever seen.
That's a good one. Or how about Babes in the Middle? Now, the Foolkiller grew out of this idea that what we needed to do was to change the world.
One of his mottos was, this radical newspaper writer in North Carolina that published the Foolkiller was, having trouble here, it'll come to me. The only thing we hold sacred is irreverent humor. And the other was get people laughing. And when their mouth is open, cram the truth down their throat.
The things that appealed to me and as a young man has stayed with me all those years, and the friends that I made have stayed with me all those years as well.
It was amazing. We found out what we could do.
Well, Scoop, today, as I mentioned, what I'm doing is this trip is to find out about the Foolkiller and Folk University before Nancy and I got there. We got there in 71. And I'm particularly interested in how Folk University came into being and what your involvement was, what other people's involvement was. So just kind of start out and tell your story about
Okay, the very earliest.
Well, I was in the theater program at the time, so that's how I met Bob. And so being in the theater and taking art, the Foolkiller was just a natural draw for me. I'm like, oh, well, this sounds like fun, we're gonna put on plays. And the music part, I wasn't so much involved in at that time.
In the early, we started out and we divided up the task in councils. Not unlike Cuba, there was no leader. There was only a general secretary.
I don't want to sound immodest, but I think you and I, speaking to George the filmmaker here, we're sort of the odd man out in that we could relate both to Theory Council and we could relate to the music and the other creative things.
So we lived in several cooperative houses, and the later ones worked better than the early ones. People had a little better idea how to run things over trial and error.
I tell you, the first time that you see your writing on stage and the audience actually laughs the first time, it's like being addicted to heroin. You're hooked for life. It hooked me for life.
You can't entertain yourself. You have to turn on the box and be entertained by people who are professionals. And since they're professionals, this is something beyond your abilities, and which is what the countercultural movement meant.
Oh, I think you're going to cut this thing up in pieces because I'm terrible at this stuff.